What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an Arsenal inventory update to do for you guys. Vinyl this time, and I got some heavy hitters to go through here in this video. Some records that I've been after for quite some time, and some highlights from last year. But first, what we are listening to in the background. Saprogenic, expanding towards collapsed lungs. Or expanding toward collapsed lungs. Criminally underappreciated band. Definitely listen to Saprogenic, they're good dudes. But yeah, let's get the heavy hitters out of the way with this first record. Probably one of the most notable bands in extreme metal today when it comes to melodic death metal and just overall popularity. Yeah, some love them, some hate them, but I fucking love them. This is the Black Dahlia Murder with Miasma. Yeah. This is their second full-length album from 2005, and this is the 2017 repress through Metal Blade Records. Yeah. Out of every Black Dahlia Murder album that's ever been put out on vinyl that needed a repress more than anything, it needed to be Miasma, because every single album that was coming out soon after this was continuously kept in print, easily available, readily available through indie merch, through the band and whatever, but nothing was done as far as Miasma was concerned. I remember seeing the Black Dahlia Murder live in 2009 with Obscura, Augury, and Hatesphere, and of course I got this from them. This is the original press that I got directly from the band that night. Of course, it's seen better days, but still, this particular record was very hard to get a hold of. And when I found out that they were doing a repress of it, I was jumping in my boots, because this was a repress that needed to happen. It needed to be an album that needed to be more readily available for Black Dahlia Murder fans, or pretty much anybody who wanted to know about the humble beginnings of this band. Let's talk about the music. This is the second full-length from the Black Dahlia Murder, and this was their perpetual next step in sound after Unhallowed. I mean, the minute you hear songs like I'm Charming, Statutory Ape, Novelty Crosses, Spite Suicide, you could tell that this band was slowly starting to get better and hone in their own unique sound. A lot of people like to debate about what type of metal the Black Dahlia Murder is. I've always considered them a death metal band, more melodic throughout the years, but really I couldn't care less if they're big or popular, if they're Billboard charting or touring the world. I love the Black Dahlia Murder. They've always been one of my favorite bands, and I appreciate Miasma way more now than I ever did before, and this album is really one of my favorites in their discography. I don't know where you would fit Miasma in your personal Black Dahlia Murder discography, but this is an absolutely killer record. But anyway, let's do some comparisons. Yeah, of course, this is the original Miasma vinyl, front cover, back cover, paper printed inner sleeve, and this particular pressing, it's pretty much near identical, and you'll notice the differences right away. Of course, you'll see the current day Metal Blade Records logo. The old one had the older Metal Blade Records logo. And we have another printed inner sleeve, but this time it's not like a soft flimsy paper. It's kind of more of a regular sort of paper inner sleeve. But yeah, still something you got to be careful with when you're holding it. But yeah, of course he has the lyrics, and this is the repress that I got on a very nice white vinyl. Sounds great, plays great. Not much of a difference between this and the original version, but I needed a new version of a new copy of Miasma anyway, because mine was feeling a little beat up. But yeah, I love the Black Dahlia Murder. I love Miasma. Definitely check this one out if you haven't. These next two records are from last year's top 10 list, and this one is a band that I don't really seem to shut up much about here on this channel, and that's fine by me. This is Ruin with Drown in Blood. Yeah. This was my second favorite album of last year, and this got put out through multiple physical format variations. Of course, the CD version was put out through Memento Mori, the tape version was done by Nero One and Von Frost, and this is the vinyl version put out through Blood Harvest. And I'm not really going to say too much about this than what I haven't already said in the past. California-based death metal band, easily one of the best current going death metal bands around. This band has really been around for a long, long time, but it wasn't until last year in which they started churning the wheels, making their presence known in death metal with their kind of style and music. And Drown in Blood is everything I love and hope and wish for in death metal. Dirty, putrid, vile, raw, guttural, sick. I love everything about this record. Crawling Through the Vomit, The Thirst for Annihilation, the title track, Rancid Death. Absolutely sick death metal. Everything about Drown in Blood is sick. This album still is holding up tremendously well, even in comparison to the stuff that's coming out today, 2018. The second Ruin album, to my knowledge, is done, if I'm not mistaken. So it's pretty much a waiting game at this point in time. There could be a new Ruin album this year. I could be wrong, I could be right. I'm ready for new Ruin. This band is the real deal. So anyway, here's the front cover. Love this artwork. Love this disgusting putrid art here. Back cover, band members and track listings. Blood Harvest put this out. Comes with this really neat OBI strip, which is pretty much the case for any Blood Harvest record. Yeah, very cool, Jake. OBI strip. List of what's coming out through Skeletal Blood Harvest Records, excuse me. There's also a download code on this, but if you want that download code, buy the record yourself. Comes with a printed lyric sheet and inner sheet. More credits and band member photos. Lyrics and artwork for every single track on here, which I fucking love when bands do stuff like that. Put artwork pieces for every single track. And I believe this is released on 3 different vinyl variants. Standard black, gray, silver, I think, and the version that I got from the vocalist himself, red vinyl. I figured if it's an album about drowning in blood, you gotta have a red colored vinyl. And this is very, very nice, and it sounds great. But yeah, this album still holds up perfectly. Ruin are the real deal in death metal right now, so check out Drown in Blood. This is fucking sick. From one spectrum of death to another, this album is another album that was in my top 5 of last year, and pretty much, I love this band so much, I didn't want to wait until this landed in US distros. I bought this album immediately from Iron Bonehead in all physical formats, including this one. This is Tetragrammacide with Primal Incinerators of Moral Matrix. Yeah. 2017 release through Iron Bonehead Productions. Like the previous record, I won't really say too much other than these guys are based out of India. They had that really harsh, brittle, noisy sort of black metal sound going for them in their early beginnings, but this album seemed to be a perpetual next step in their evolution. They add a little bit more death metal elements into their sound. They become a little bit more modernized, which I can kind of see alienating some people who are into Tetragrammacide, their early stuff at least, but I honestly think this band makes it work. The inclusion of from being a duo to a trio, adding a lot more intelligence and psychology into their music. It's just so awesome. Long song titles, really wordy manifestos. It's just a really over-the-top sort of band, and that's what I enjoy so much about Tetragrammacide. Fucking love this band. Seriously big things on this band's horizon. From what I understand, there could be a 3-way split with this band coming in the works. I would say it out loud on camera, but I would rather wait for the proper bands to be making those announcements themselves. But yeah, if you haven't heard it's Primal Incinerators of Moral Matrix, you need to give this album a shot. This is fucking great stuff. So anyway, here's the front cover. Love this artwork. Uncoated stock on the jacket. Back cover. Pretty similar stuff to the CD if you happen to have it. Very nice gatefold. Very, very killer stuff. You have the band members, and you have the track listing and credits. Yeah. I got the Die Hard version of this, which comes with a whole bunch of goodies and stuff, but I'm going to show you that close to last, but let me show you this gigantic-ass booklet here. If you have the CD, you already know what this is all about. big ass, giant ass booklet with artwork, notes, lyrics, whatever. I don't really think this band does lyrics all that much, but yeah. Absolutely gigantic booklet. I couldn't even really fit it into the gatefold. That's how massive this thing is. But yeah, let me show you the contents of the Die Hard package. It comes with a sticker of the band members, and the little quote it says here, "I am the Lord of the Double Wand of Power, the Wand of the Force of Kofkia, but my left hand is empty, for I have crushed an universe and naught remains." Rowdy over-the-top shit. Comes with a faux leather back patch. Very similar to what's on the back of the record. Absolutely sick as fuck. I love this back patch. Very, very good. I don't know if I'll use it or not, but we'll see. Comes with a dual poster. Dual-sided poster. You have the artworks and stuff on this side. And on the back you have the band members in question. Paper stock poster. Same thing that the sticker says. It's very, very rowdy stuff. And seeing as how I got the Die Hard version, I got a color record, and this is on a very, very nice split color vinyl, half black, half white, side A, side B. Really, really killer stuff. Fantastic job done overall with this record. It's an absolute beauty. But yeah, I love Tetragrammacide. I love their noisy shit. I love their contemporary modern shit. I can't wait to see what they do next. So yeah, Tetragrammacide, Primal Incinerators of Moral Matrix. This album still holds up perfectly. This next one is a very, very important one because it seems as though every metal collector on the face of the planet has this particular album in a first press variety of some ways. Some people may have more than one copy of it, but when I found out that Nuclear War Now Productions was putting this out, I was eagerly anticipating the day that this was going to be made available, and once it was made available, I made an order, I waited, I got it, and now here we are. This is Lurker of Chalice with their self-titled album, Lurker of Chalice. Yeah. This is the 2017 repress through Nuclear War Now Productions, and of course, for anybody who doesn't know, Lurker of Chalice is a project bit created by Wrest of Leviathan. This is a completely different sort of project in its own right. It stands out on its own and doesn't need any sort of comparisons or ideas or thoughts behind it. But yeah, Lurker of Chalice is quite a beast of a record. It still holds up very perfectly to this very day. I mean, musically, vocally, aesthetically, this is just a seriously killer album all the way through. Piercing where they might, This Blood Falls as Mortal, Fastened to the 5 Points. This is such a killer album, and I'm really happy that this is being made available again for people who happen to miss out on it originally, who couldn't come across an original version or whatever. I hope that this album stays in print for many more years to come, and hopefully if there's more Lurker of Chalice stuff that we haven't heard yet, I'm hopeful that it'll be made rightly available through the correct channels. But yeah, Lurker of Chalice, fucking awesome. And anyway, here's the front cover. Different sort of color tone in comparison to previous pressings. You have this hot foil stamp, gold stuff on here. Very, very nice. Back cover, very iconic and familiar sort of artwork. Gatefold, very identical and similar to previous gatefolds of releases, but I believe you have the album cover, the album tracks that are listed on here. Comes with a fold-out poster of the artwork that you see on the back of the jacket here, which is very, very nice. Yeah, very badass poster art here. I got the Die Hard version of this. There were 3 different versions. There was the standard black vinyl, the beer-colored vinyl, and the one that I'm going to show you here. But the Die Hard version comes with a sticker of the Lurker of Chalice logo. This beautifully big pin that you can put on your jacket or your vest or whatever. Very massive size pin. I love when Nuclear War Now does these over-the-top size pins. Very, very nicely done here. I got the Die Hard version of this, and it comes on this really nice bronze sort of color vinyl. Very gorgeous to look at, and even more gorgeous to listen to. Side A, side B, because it's a double LP. You're definitely going to get an exercise out of listening to these records, I can promise you that. But yeah, Lurker of Chalice is a very, very important piece of music. Very important creation from Jeff Whitehead, Wrest, whatever you want to address him as. Very, very important release. But yeah, Lurker of Chalice is awesome, and I'm very happy and pleased to own this. This next record was an album that came out towards the late end of last year, and is now being made more of a big deal in 2018. I don't know if I can say that this is a 2018 release or not, or probably a late 2017, early 2018 release. But this album is a big deal in terms of music, soundscapes, presentations, and everything. This, I missed out on the first press, but I'm very happy that it got repressed again, and this is an absolutely stellar album all the way through. This is Vargrav with Netherstorm. Yeah. This is released through Werewolf Records, and of course, Vargrav is a one-person project based out of Finland, a gentleman by the name of V. Chaos. He plays and does everything, and what got me intrigued about this album is the fact that all the comparisons that this album was getting to, like, early Emperor, early Dimmu Borgir, Limbic art, all that sort of symphonic, melodic, almost expansive and theatrical sort of black metal. And upon listening to this album in its entirety, I agree with all of those those comparisons and ideas. It's just so crazy how good this album is. I mean, listening to this album, you feel as if you're going on a journey. You're taking a new, different sort of experience listening to this album. It's just lush. It's expansive. It's atmospheric. It's beautiful to listen to. And this is absolutely worth repeated listens over and over again. The title track, Limbo of Abysmal Void, Celestial Visions of a Monumental Cataclysm. I mean, just so much grandiose nature on Netherstorm, and it is an absolutely beautiful album to listen to. If you haven't heard this album yet, definitely make an effort to go and get a copy while it's still available. I got the CD and I got the record of this. This is an absolutely badass album, and it is worth all of the hype and praise that it gets. Don't let hype deter you from checking something out for yourself. Figure out for yourself whether you think something is worthy of being listened to or not. And Netherstorm, I feel, is worth being listened to. So anyway, here's the front cover. Love this album cover. Love the purple hues. Love the purpleness on this cover. This is, I love when black metal bands do purple shit. It's fucking awesome. Back cover. There's the man himself. Vargrav's Netherstorm. Track listing and credits. Werewolf Records put this out. All the vinyl copies, if I'm not mistaken, come with this really neat picture disc 7-inch of a it's pretty much a little bit of like a single of some sorts. You have an Emperor cover of the song Ancient Queen, and then you have this one lengthy track called The Glory of Eternal Night. There you see the B-side of this with the Werewolf logo and credits and all that stuff. This is a neat little addition to this to this. But I'm sure this was on the original press of this when it first came out. But yeah, these extra songs add some more needed balance and substance to everything, and it's fucking awesome. And the vinyl variant I got is a pretty neat one, and it comes on a half and half vinyl, half translucent purple, crystal clear. There you see side A, side B on here with the Werewolf logo. And there the Vargrav logo is on this A side. It's kind of dark to see, but yeah. Great sounding record, great presentation. It is a beautiful, beautiful album. But yeah, Vargrav's Netherstorm is absolutely the real deal, and it really does need to be heard by anybody and everybody that loves over-the-top sort of black metal. But yeah, Netherstorm by Vargrav. Check this one out. And the last record I'm going to show you, we're entering Holy Grail territory with this last one, and this is a record that I've been after for quite some time. A friend of mine was parting ways with some of his collection, and once I saw that he had this particular version of this record in his Discogs, I immediately got a copy. I didn't want to this is a record that I didn't think I'd ever own because, for one, the original version of this is probably super expensive, and this particular version was a little bit hard to find. But I'm glad to have this album, and the hunt for this particular album is over. This is NME with Unholy Death. Yeah. The undisputed crossover metal punk classic. Yeah, I believe this was originally released in 1986, and this is the 2013 repress put out through The Crypt, because if I'm not mistaken, Dark Descent Records reissued both this album and the demo Machine of War with some additional live stuff. Yeah, I remember getting that CD when it came out, but when the vinyl version came out, this was an absolute beast to get a hold of, because this is a really, really killer presentation here. It's a triple LP set. Yeah, if you haven't heard Unholy Death, this album is very monumental and very, very important in the history of metal and punk and crossover, black metal, thrash, whatever you want to call it. This album has so much layers going for it. It's just really an over-the-top sort of record. Listening to songs like Louder Than Hell, Speed Kills, Lethal Dose, Acid Rain, Evil Dead. Holy shit. These are some absolutely killer songs. This stuff is way, way ahead of its time, and it still holds up perfectly almost 30 years later. This is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful album to listen to. And to have this particular version of this album is just so unbelievably pleasing and satisfying. I'm so happy to have Unholy Death in my own collection. But anyway, let me show you the record in question here. Anyway, here's the front cover. Uncoated stock finish on this jacket. There you see this classic album cover art. Unholy Death, NME. Back cover with some... I just love this artwork. I mean, this is just so rowdy stuff. You have the NME skull, all these cut and paste words, and little sayings and whatever. As you can see, this is a tri-gatefold. There you see the Machine of... We Are of Hell, Machine of War. Of course, this is their demo that predated this. I believe that's what their second album was called, but yeah. Triple gatefold. There you see lyrics for all of the songs in question. Liner notes. More interesting factoids and tidbits about this. Absolutely badass job done here. And this is limited to 666 copies. And the copy that I have is number 408 out of 666. Seriously badass stuff, but it does come with a couple of interesting goodies and stuff. You have this booklet with some additional artwork here, old interviews, flyers, credits. Absolutely sick as fuck stuff going on here. You have this gigantic poster of the album cover art. Probably a 2x2 foot album cover. Yeah, there you see Unholy Death here. And since this is limited to 666 copies, half of the records that this reissue came out with are on a color vinyl, and I was lucky enough to get the color variant. It's a triple LP. I'm not going to take them all out at once, but yeah, you'll get the idea here. White with black splatter, white with a grayish black splatter. It looks absolutely beautiful. Of course, this is the record that has the Unholy Death album in question. And there you see the NME logo here on the B side. Absolutely sick as fuck. Great job, great presentation. The Crypt absolutely do tremendous wonders when it comes to the reissues and putting out stuff. I am extremely, extremely happy to own this album. This is really one of the most important albums of the mid-'80s, and really, you really need to pay attention and listen to an album like Unholy Death. It really did pave a way for a lot of others to follow. But yeah, NME, Unholy Death, perfect 10 out of 10 masterpiece of an album. So yeah, I'm going to conclude this video. I'm going to leave you some links to some of the bands I talked to you about here in this video. If you happen to have heard or own any of these releases, let me know what you think about it, how you feel about it, and we can go from there. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Army Help out.